Good morning, everybody. How are y'all today? Awesome. Man, I didn't know if you were going to answer that or not. That's good news. All right, we got a lively one. This is great. Guys, look around the room for a minute. My first of these was free, and we couldn't fill all the seats at the theater. Y'all do not adequately value Friday mornings. Thank you. We are so grateful. This is a sold-out crowd. We sold 300 tickets to the State of the City for the City of Woodstock. Thank you guys for caring about our city. It is such an absolute honor to get to do this, and this is the only prepared speech that I do each year, so I try to put some work into it for you. But before we dive into it, I do want to make sure to say a few thank yous. Again, thank you to the Woodstock City Church for opening their doors for us, and thank you to our Economic Development team and the In Woodstock Board. Thank you guys for helping host this. Can we hear it for them one more time? Thank you guys. If you haven't joined, In Woodstock is like our Chamber of Commerce here in Woodstock, but like most things, it's a Chamber of Commerce with an attitude. We have fun here. I'd encourage you, check it out. Make sure to join. They do awesome work promoting the businesses here in Woodstock. Thank y'all for everything you do. I want to make sure to say a thank you. We've got the boards. If you are on the board for Visit Woodstock GA or our Downtown Development Authority or on our Planning Commission board, if you would please stand up for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. I know Robin Wright, who you just heard from, chairs Visit Woodstock. We have Chairman Spencer Nix and Chairman Brandon Williams from the Downtown Development Authority and the Planning Commission. Y'all, it's the 20th largest city in the state now. There is a lot of work that goes into making this place what it is, and if it weren't for these volunteers on these boards, it could never be the city that it is today, so thank y'all for what you do for us. I'm going to do the most dangerous part of the day and attempt to recognize the elected officials that I have run into this morning, and which means I will inevitably miss someone and embarrass myself. So let's see how I do. We've got two visiting council members from Alpharetta. We've got Councilman Dan Merkel and John Hypes. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us this morning. We have Councilman Jeff Wilbur from the city of Holly Springs to our north. Thank you for coming, sir. You can tell it's a formal morning because I usually introduce Holly Springs as Metro Woodstock, but it's a good morning, sir. I want to say a thank you to our incredible Sheriff, Frank Reynolds, for joining us this morning. Sir, welcome. I saw our County Commission Chairman, Harry Johnston. Chairman, thank you for being here, sir. Did an excellent job at your State of the County last week. Thank you, sir. And then I saw Representative Brad Thomas is here as well. Somewhere hiding. There he is in the back. Thank you, sir. Grateful for you here, sir. All right. Which elected official do I owe an apology? Is Ryan Shirley here? Where is he? The mayor of Metro Woodstock's here? Stand up, sir. There he is. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Thank you for being here, sir. Ryan, it's been an honor getting to work with you so far, sir. Thank you for the excellent job you're doing in Holly Springs. And I'm sorry. All right. From our city council, guys, we take for granted how good we have it in Woodstock. It is genuinely odd that these people don't hate each other. Look at the cities across the state. I mean, you're welcome to laugh, but it is wild how divided most city councils are. We have a council that works together, rows in the same direction, and I think reflects Woodstock in that attitude. We have a city that is rowing in the same direction, understands and wants to go. From the first post, I want to recognize Councilman Warren Johnson. Thank you for your service, sir. From post 2 and my city councilman, David Potts. Post 3 and our freshly reappointed Mayor Pro Tem, Colin Ake. Post 4, our Dean, Tracy Collins, could not be here with us this morning, but from Post 5, we have Brian Wolf. Thank you, sir. And then Post 6, I have not seen Councilman Usher yet, so just to make sure, but Councilman, thank you for your service. I have the great honor for every one of these to get to introduce a gentleman that I truly believe is the best city manager in America. Can we say thank you to Jeff Moon for everything he does for our city? Thank you, sir. And as much as he is easy to show off because Jeff does a spectacular job, Jeff is spectacular because he's assembled an incredible team. If you are a department, if you're with our city, if you work for the city of Woodstock and you're here today, would you please stand up for a moment? They deserve all the applause this morning, guys. Thank y'all. as we've got a team of 250 who makes this city look easy, but it is a lot harder than they make it look, so thank you all. I'll caution anybody who's thinking about running for mayor. When I started this job, I had 2 kids, and I have 4 now. I don't know what that says about this job, but be careful. I want to say I've got all 4 of my kids here: Oliver, Elizabeth, Charlotte, Victoria. Raise your hand and wave at everybody. And for the last and most important thank you I can give, when you hired me, you hired 2 of us, because Katie and I have never done anything apart. I really genuinely believe you have the best First Lady in the nation. We've never had a First Lady in this city who cared more for the arts, and who I believe is just the greatest human being I've ever known. If you would help me welcome my wife and the First Lady of the city of Woodstock. Guys, thank y'all. If you weren't sure, we live in an incredible place. Look around. Where else in a city like ours do we get to pull a room like this together, honestly, to sit and celebrate and to look forward and just get excited about what we're doing? The work that we are doing, we together are doing, matters. I want to say thank you all for taking the time this morning. It is an absolute honor to get to do this with you. I look forward to this every year. I hope you do too. But welcome. Thank you all for being here. Members of the City Council, City Manager Moon, city staff, honored guests, my fellow Woodstockers. It is a privilege to stand before you this morning for my 5th State of the City address. That's wild. We gather here not just as residents, but as neighbors who share a story written in the storefronts of Main Street and on the front porches of our neighborhoods, a story told in the quiet sacrifices of our first responders and in the noisy ambition of our entrepreneurs. This is the American story. The belief that if we work hard, if we look out for one another, and if we are bold enough to dream, tomorrow will be better than today. Now, we have a lot of work to do this morning. I know that's not shocking. We have so many accomplishments to cover. We have a bold path to chart forward together. But as I look around this room, I see faces that I have known my whole life. I see the partners, the neighbors, the friends, the hundreds who have made this city's mission possible. So at the start of this second term, grateful for the trust that you have placed in me again, I think I should start this speech by simply saying, thank you for inviting me back. 4 years ago, I stood on this stage at my first State of the City, and I promised you that we would deliver you a city unexpected. We promised to tackle the hard things. How have we done in 4 years? Our community is safer. Our police department is fully staffed for the first time in more than a decade. Our officers have seen the largest, so don't worry, there's more for PD, just wait. Our officers have seen the largest pay increase in the department's history, and our crime rates are among the lowest in Georgia. We are actively constructing 2 new fire stations, training the new firefighters that will make up the largest expansion of our fire department in the history of our city. And the Woodstock Fire Department remains among the top 1.5% of departments nationwide. Our economy is stronger. We've grown into an economic powerhouse that generates 40% of Cherokee County's GDP on just 3% of its land. Our local businesses generate more than $5 billion in annual revenue. Our credit ratings have been upgraded to the 2nd highest level possible, and the private sector is investing hundreds of millions of dollars to expand and enhance this already award-winning downtown. Our taxpayers have been respected. Because of the commercial growth, our homeowners are not left to foot the bill for our city's prosperity. We've cut the city's tax rate by 15% since 2022. We have doubled our rainy day fund, and all at the same time, you today are paying the lowest tax rate in Woodstock in more than 30 years. Our infrastructure is being built to last. We opened the largest parking deck in the county, and we kept it free. We are building the most trail-connected city in Georgia, and with an 87% mandate from our voters, we are building the largest park investment in more than a century at Little River Park. Innovation, opportunity, and a spirit of bold ambition have found a home here in Woodstock. We remain the sought-after home of go-getters and dreamers throughout our region. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no question. The state of our city is stronger, safer, and better off than it was 4 years ago. All right, but the question today isn't how have we done? The question today, as it is every day in Woodstock, is what's next? And so to answer that, we have to remember why we're here today. Why are we here at all? 2 years ago, our leadership team sat down to define the soul of our city. We stripped away the government jargon and the buzzwords and the strategic language, and we landed on a single guiding mission for Woodstock. We are building a city that feels like home. That is our North Star. But home is not just a feeling, it's not a sentiment. Home is a physical place. It requires a strong foundation, requires constant care, and sometimes to build a home that can shelter a family for a century, you have to be willing to renovate. In my first year as mayor, I stood on the stage and I promised you orange cones. I told you that we could not fix our traffic or build our trails or secure our future without breaking some ground. Well, look around you. We didn't just write plans, we didn't just file permits, we got to work. Right now, at this very moment, there is more active capital investment happening in Woodstock than at any point in our 129-year history. In the last year, we activated more than $50 million in public capital transportation infrastructure projects, and to build the future of this city, the private sector added another $210 million worth of new construction value to Woodstock. Investment is pouring into this city from across the state and across the nation. We've received direct investment in our infrastructure from the County Commission to the Gold Dome and all the way to the halls of Congress to make the largest investment in our city's roads, bridges, sidewalks, trails, water, sewer, ever. Yes, there are a lot of orange cones. I see them too. I can't say I'm sorry. While cities across the state kick their infrastructure problems down the road and they leave them for another generation to solve, we are making the investments not just to meet the needs of today, but also of those to come. Those orange cones that we drive by are an investment in our children's city and in their children's city, and we will make them today. There are dozens of infrastructure projects going on all across our city in every major corridor, but let's highlight a few of them. At I-575 and Ridgewalk Parkway, the city's been leading a project to convert that major interchange into a diverging diamond for several years now. We've received funding through direct appropriations from Congress, led by Congressman Barry Loudermilk's office, as well as funding from the Atlanta Regional Commission. As of a few months ago, the Georgia Department of Transportation officially took the project over as a GDOT-led project. Guys, this is an exciting step toward completion because it shows that this city-initiated endeavor has become a regionally significant project and priority for both the city of Woodstock and the state of Georgia. The project's currently in engineering and design, and it's expected to be put out for bid in the second half of next year. This project promises to improve safety and experience for the millions who visit and drive through the corridor, and it's going to have a positive traffic flow impact, not just here locally, but regionally throughout all of East Cherokee and North Fulton counties. The complete overhaul of Neese Road continues to make major strides. As one of the projects I am most asked about, and yes, I heard the soft laughter throughout the room, it will actually finish. I am proud to report that the southern segment stretching from Washington and Driftwood down to Highway 92 is nearing completion as we finalize the realignment, widening, and the addition of medians and sidewalks to this critically important corridor for our city. The northern segment, including the new roundabout at Washington and the remaining stretch northward to Arnold Mill, has begun, and the entire corridor is expected to be completed and delivered by next year. Last year, Cherokee County's commission asked the voters to authorize an historic investment in our transportation network countywide. The new T-SPLOST approved in November will deliver an additional $65 million in investment in just Woodstock's infrastructure. It'll help fund both of those projects, as well as the widening of Main Street from Ridgewalk Parkway north to East Cherokee Drive, the Lincoln Street extension, the Reeve Street extension, the Payton Street extension, the Oak Bridge Road extension, Barnsdale Terrace intersection improvements, Dupree intersection improvements, Dobbs Road intersection improvements at both Arnold Mill and Main Street, the Haney Road extension, more Grid Street connections, and more projects than I just listed. This city has never had so many projects going or worked at such a pace to improve our roads, our streets, and our traffic. We are on it. Now, you may have also noticed some changes happening on Town Lake Parkway near downtown. Things look slightly different there between Woodstock Parkway and the roundabout lately. This private sector project, known as the Woodstock Mill District, brings with it some major infrastructure improvements, specifically a widening of that currently bottlenecked portion of Town Lake Parkway and the extension of Lindy Lane from the roundabout all the way north to Rusk Street. In no uncertain terms, the #1 request I have received from the moms and dads of Woodstock for 4 years has been, please get me a grocery store downtown. This is where the Mill District gets exciting. You may have heard that Publix is coming to downtown Woodstock, but don't fool yourself into picturing a traditional suburban strip mall grocery store here. This is the gateway to one of Georgia's most awarded downtowns. This isn't a strip mall. It is a true extension of our downtown, built with the same brick, the same trees, the same walkable streets that make Woodstock feel special. This project's going to be covered in the city's trail system, has room for public art installations, and there will be more than 180 trees planted throughout the parking areas. The developer also owns the strip mall to the east of the roundabout as well, and as you can see driving by it today, there's a massive renovation and facelift going on for that property too. This is going to deliver a grocery store for the thousands of families, like mine, who live downtown and leave downtown to find their food, and it will in so many ways deliver it in a way that feels tailor-made to downtown Woodstock's architecture, walkability, and lifestyle. But the project represents another $65 million of private sector investment in the continued enhancement of our downtown. It's an exciting chapter. Last year, we shared the most recent renderings of our city center's project's retail, restaurant, and office components. Now, these have made significant progress in the last year, and though I cannot spoil the private sector's surprises for them, I think you're going to be thrilled with many of the brands and businesses that are inbound for Chambers Street soon. But in 2025, the project's developer also selected Southern Ventures to construct the landmark 6-story, 130-room hotel placed across Arnold Mill from the amphitheater. This hotel is going to be truly one of a kind in the region. It'll have multiple restaurants and bars, a full-service spa, ground floor retail fronting Arnold Mill Road, and a 5,000 square foot conference center and event space. The property is going to be managed by Valor Hospitality Partners. They operate 95 high-end hotel properties across the globe. They're a world-class operator, and they are going to be investing right here in downtown Woodstock. This hotel's been designed to fit the feeling and the architecture of our downtown. It is sure to be a key component of the next chapter of our city's economic success, and I hope you're as excited for this as I am. During last year's address, we celebrated the brand new parking deck at the heart of our city center project. I showed you photos of my suburban dad ribbon cutting as we drove a minivan through. We opened this incredible new asset. This 633-space free parking deck has been heavily used throughout the year. It's been a huge success in delivering the parking relief for our downtown that our visitors and our businesses have been begging to see. Now, in addition to the new capacity added with the parking deck, we introduced the city's first managed parking plan. You had to know I was going to talk about it. For fewer than 19% of the spaces downtown on Chambers Street, East Main, and behind Reformation, we instituted timed parking enforcement with the first hour free and a fee maxing out at $4. Y'all, we solved a simple math problem. We discovered that a massive percentage of the spaces located directly in front of our stores were being utilized by employees for 8 hours a day. By instituting time enforcement, we incentivized those all-day parkers to move to the free deck and parking lots, which freed up the storefronts for your families. It broke the death loop that we have all experienced circling on Chambers and East Main Street looking for a parking space. And most importantly, it had huge positive impacts on the traffic flow on Main Street and Arnold Mill because we weren't circling and pouring out. Nearly every business owner I've spoken to has reported double-digit percentage increases in revenue since the program began. But we also saw more than 3.5% increase in visitors just to the parking areas year over year since that program began as well. Our city saw more than 35 million visits from 3 million unique visitors to the downtown. Our six pub crawls alone attracted 45,000 people downtown. 6 pub crawls, 45, yes, it's a fun town. Our downtown is alive and well, and more people visited it in the past year than at any other time in our history. What's the difference? You can always find a parking space now. The number one complaint I heard running for mayor in 2022 was parking downtown. Today, you are never more than 300 feet from a free parking space, and for $2, you can almost always park directly in front of the venue you'd like to visit. But paid or unpaid, parking in downtown Woodstock is now readily available to the millions who come to our city each year. Now, home is a physical place, and ours is getting the extreme makeover we all dreamed that we would get to see. From generational upgrades to our roads and streets to a thriving economic center and backbone, we are investing in the foundation of this home that will last for generations. Home isn't found in the finishes, though. First and foremost, home is where you feel safe. And we have made record-setting investments in the men and women of Woodstock's public safety teams. If our mission is to build a city that feels like home, and home is where you feel safe, Woodstock's finest is well on their way to mission accomplished. The city of Woodstock is consistently named among the safest cities in the state of Georgia. And after the city council invested in the largest starting pay increase in department history, along with certification and training incentives, we have achieved full staffing for the first time in more than a decade. We followed through on our commitment to hire foot patrol officers for downtown Woodstock, and their added presence on Main Street and throughout our trails continues to maintain the safe, public safety-forward environment that we've cultivated in Georgia's most vibrant city. Crime in our city has continued its downward trend, and our community-focused department is yielding the results that home deserves. But let me be clear. If you come to Woodstock with the intent to harm our community, we will find you. When vandals targeted our new parking deck, an asset paid for by you, the people of our city, our officers didn't just file a report. They identified and arrested the suspects within 48 hours. From aiding the GBI in cartel busts to eliminating outlet mall theft rings in Woodstock, justice is swift, it is certain, and that is entirely thanks to the men and women of our police department. I hope you'll join me. Now, as we celebrate this department's successes, and there are plenty of them, we look forward to an even brighter future with a new leader at the helm. With the retirement of Chief Jones last year, the department has welcomed our new chief. Before I introduce him, though, I want to ask everyone to join me in thanking our Assistant Chief, Brian Alligood. He led this department with a steady hand. AC, please stand up for us. We owe you a huge thank you. Chief Roland Castro joins us with a distinguished career spanning nearly 3 decades. He was an inaugural member of the Johns Creek Police Department, where he served in nearly every capacity, from SWAT team commander to DEA task force officer, eventually rising to lead that department as interim chief. He's a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy and a recipient of the FBI Leda Trilogy Award. This man has proven himself to be a visionary leader, and I'm sure he will be for our department. I would ask that you please help me welcome Chief Roland Castro to the city of Woodstock. The Woodstock Fire Department has had one of the most defining years in its history through 2025. For decades, Woodstock Fire has operated out of 2 stations. As the city has continued to grow and calls for service have risen to more than 7,000 calls annually, the need for service has put an incredible strain on our first responders and continues to challenge our response times. In 2025, the City Council funded the construction of 2 new fire stations, and Woodstock FD hired 12 new firefighters to staff them. This marks an historic expansion of our fire service in this city. As the City Council was evaluating the placement of the 3rd station we'd finally made a decision to build, Chief Dobson had recently reorganized the department, and he was able to establish a shift structure that would enable the staffing of an entire 4th station using the same 12 firefighters we would need to hire for the 3rd. Yes, you heard that right. The city could open 4 stations for the operational cost of 3. It's not often in government we find a deal, but we found one. The council, I believe, very wisely chose to greenlight both, and as a result, Woodstock Fire will be better positioned to serve this city than ever. Even before the impact of these 2 stations, though, the efforts of Chief Dobson and his team have yielded just this year a 21% reduction in response times through efforts like traffic preemption, automated vehicle location, and better technology utilization. They are using technology to deliver 21% better results for you, our chief and his command staff continue to search for ways to deliver more and better for Woodstock citizens with the resources that they're already given. And in doing so, they have sustained their ranking among the top 1.5% of departments in the United States of America. Guys, will you please join me in thanking the Woodstock Fire Department? They're doing an outstanding job for us. That is by a long shot the largest investment that our council chose to make in this calendar year, and it is well earned and well deserved. Thank you to the men and women of Woodstock Fire. For home to feel safe, it needs to feel financially secure as well, though. In 2025, the council was able to deliver yet another tax cut. While neighboring cities have been forced to increase their rates by nearly 25% in the last 4 years alone, Woodstock's rates are 15% lower and at their lowest rate in more than 30 years. Thank you. But it's one thing to cut taxes. While we accomplish this, we also managed to store up a rainy day fund approaching 50% of our general operating budget, and we managed to see an increase in our credit rating to a AA+, the second highest rating available, and you can bet we're coming for that AAA. Our city continues to leverage our growth and success to reinvest in our future, to save for unexpected trouble ahead, and to ultimately lower the tax burden for everyone who calls this place home. Home is our place, and home is where we feel safe, but it's also where we play, and it's where we find the space to dream. Our massive expansion of this city's parks and trails continues forward, and the future of space to breathe and play in our city looks brighter than ever. In 2023, you voted to pass our parks bond with an historic 87% at the ballot box. In addition to this investment, a portion of the T-SPLOST is going to be dedicated to further expanding our trails and our sidewalks. This level of investment in pedestrian connectivity and green spaces in our city is truly unprecedented. The construction of Little River Park, stretching from Trickham Road to Highway 92, remains the largest expansion of parks and green space in the history of Woodstock. The scale of this park is truly massive, so large that you could fit all of Woodstock's current city parks into it and have room left over. I shared with you last year that this park would begin construction and that we would be moving forward on all 3 phases concurrently, so you wouldn't have to wait for us to deliver the entirety of the park and we would get it done before the end of 2026. I'm proud to report that the construction continues on target and we will be delivering this park to you before the end of the year. Our mission to become the spaghetti junction of trails in Georgia continues forward. Despite difficult weather conditions and delays, we still expect to finally deliver our Noonday Creek extension this year, which ties our network into Cobb County to our south. Long-awaited connectivity is being delivered with 10-foot sidewalks extended down Dobbs Road, Neese Road, and Town Lake Parkway and more. We are continuing to partner with Cherokee County to connect to our north and our west, and through grant support from the Atlanta Regional Commission, we continue our planning for trail connection to our east toward Roswell and Alpharetta. As we do the work to leave our children a pedestrian-friendly, walkable city, we are ensuring that all trails lead to Woodstock. But no conversation about our Parks and Recreation team, or if we're honest, this state of the city itself, would be complete without mentioning the Woodstock Summer Concert Series. What started as a modest show under the stars by the gazebo 27 years ago has grown into the largest free concert series in the South. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, this year's show broke every one of our records. Our largest show this year delivered more than 16,400 people, roughly half the population of this city, to an amphitheater covering 2.5 acres. I wrote here, it's a city that knows how to play. It's a city that knows how to party. I look forward to seeing you this year. The top question, by far, that our staff receives during the ticket sales process for this speech is whether or not I'll be announcing the concert lineup again, as if I would let anyone else do it. So for the moment that you have all been waiting for, kicking off our season on May the 9th, we welcome back to the series Black Jacket Symphony to perform Bon Jovi's iconic Slippery When Wet album in its entirety, followed by a set of greatest hits. We'll be living on a prayer right here in Woodstock in May. On June the 13th, we are bringing true country royalty to the stage. She's a Grammy winner, a CMA Female Vocalist of the Year, and a sitting member of the Grand Ole Opry. She is the gold standard of modern country music. It is rare to get an artist genuinely in the prime of their career. I hope you'll help me welcome Carly Pearce. For our midsummer show on July 11th, we are bringing the funk back. This group played Woodstock back in 2011, and we decided 15 years was too long to wait to have them back. They'll be playing a massive set of R&B hits. Get ready for Midnight Star. And then on August the 8th, we are taking our first ever foray into the world of boy bands. Buckle up, Woodstock. We gave you Taylor Swift last year. We're into boy bands now. If you spent the turn of the millennium debating the merits of NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys like I did, or if you just want to party like it's 1999, you cannot miss the Pop 2000 tour. It is going to be a nostalgia overload, y'all. And finally, on September the 12th, we will close out the season with a Battle of the Piano Men. Face to Face brings the legendary energy of Billy Joel and Elton John together on one stage. Whether you're a rocket man or a piano man, this high-energy duel is the perfect way for us to wrap up this summer. Guys, from classic rock anthems to country royalty and the best party music of the last 3 decades, this is going to be our biggest season yet and one you are not going to want to miss. Now, if home is for play, then Woodstock is clearly home. We are a city that loves beer, art, and balanced budgets, where the playground and the brewery are built next door to one another because we're building a place for everyone. Connection, foundation, safety, security, play, yes, all of these remind us of home. Our city that feels like home. Because home is what our public policy is all about. Now, as I have stated in every state of the city that I have given you, all American public policy is American housing policy. For 3 generations, the United States of America engaged in the largest public-private partnership in human history, American home ownership. We returned from the war, and at a federal level, we adopted the GI Bill and subsidized mortgage interest rates. At a state level, we adopted tax law to incentivize home ownership. And at a local level, we adopted zoning ordinances to ensure that there would be property available for you to own. Then the private sector unleashed the might of American capitalism, and we built more homes in a shorter period of time than anywhere in the world in human history. And that policy worked. By getting the average American into a home that they owned, we provided a universally appreciating asset to everyone, and we created the largest middle class the world had ever seen. And then 2008 happened. And for 18 years, housing has become less and less accessible to your average American. It has resulted in a generation that is objectively making more money than their parents did, even adjusted for inflation, and are objectively poorer than their parents were, even adjusted for inflation. Now, in a city like Woodstock, a white picket fence and 2 acres is very unlikely to come at what we would call an affordable price anymore. And government policies that mandate or subsidize pricing, those don't solve this problem either. Instead, in Woodstock, we are focused on ensuring that the ownership-rentership ratio is protected and that the free market can deliver the American dream once again. Here's the thing, we're seeing success. Last year, a developer downtown who had a zoning approval to build 180 apartments from years ago elected to convert those units to owned condominiums instead. That's 180 units that would have been shipping the wealth of Woodstock families out of our city that now instead will be building generational wealth for the families here. And the market is noticing too. Despite the national narrative, Woodstock was ranked the number 13 most affordable city to buy a home in Georgia. But because we built a place people actually want to live, the same source ranks us the number 7 most competitive housing market in the state. That's exactly where you want to be. We are highly desirable, yet still attainable. That's the sweet spot. That is where the American dream thrives. Our work to build wealth for Woodstock families and to turn neighbors into stakeholders continues to place Woodstock in the lead. We are building a city that feels like home. I told you we had a lot of work to do this morning, and for the first time I've ever given this speech, I have tried to pace myself. But over the last 4 years and the last 124 years preceding it, there's been so much work done here. But y'all, our story is just starting. We are hitting above our weight class, whether it's housing, economic impact, or culture, whether it's commissioning new public art or selling out an amphitheater that rivals venues in major metros. We're building the place that everyone dreams of getting to build. We do more with less. And let's face it, we have more fun doing it. We are the challenger brand. We are proving that you don't have to choose between a safe neighborhood and a vibrant culture. We will have both. We are writing the next chapter of this American story. Now, this 4th of July, our great American experiment turns 250 years old. It's a year for all of us to look back at the improbable story of America, a story of grit, of reinvention, and the relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow. Katie and I are raising all 4 of our children here in Woodstock. Many of you are raising your children and your grandchildren here as well. The city that we build for them will in so many ways define them and who they are. And that definition will determine the next generation for America. This story is ours to craft, but it's going to be theirs sooner than we know. We will not rest in the good that came before us or in the wins that we've delivered. We will dream boldly, build intentionally, and we will play well. We will meet our calling, and we will build a home. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. Extremely kind. For the first time ever, that clock does not say 9 when I finish the speech, so you're welcome. Guys, in all honesty, obviously, I know most of you came in with some idea of a project or an initiative or a, hey, why is that dirt now that you wanted to talk about, and I'm sure I didn't cover everything. There is so much happening in this city, and I have followed for 4 states of the city now, a tradition that my predecessor started, and that is a Q&A after. We have just a few minutes left here, so for the next 6 minutes, happy to answer any questions you guys have. If you'd like to raise your hands for me. Yes, sir.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, this is great. We have trails everywhere, and we can connect to the city, to the downtown. I live in an area where thousands of people pay taxes. That is Trickham Road and Ragsdale Road. Okay? Some parts of the city, some parts of the county. But I am requesting the city to take ownership because there's a right-of-way already the county has got on those roads and connect our residents to the city. Today, many of us cannot walk, run, or bike because these roads are not safe. So please plan for that.
Thank you, sir. So thank you. I don't know there was a question there more than a request, but I'll tell you, I think we're on it. Thank you for it. I know the Green Prince Trail plan already runs through there. We've got funding from both Parks Bond and I believe now T-SPLOST. And we applied for a grant as well to address that corridor. And we're also, it's a anybody here live on Trickham Road or out near that area? Yeah, so hyper priority for us to get it connected by trails, not just because of the pedestrian connectivity, but also because the largest park asset that we're building is in that corridor. So not connecting that to downtown, I agree, would be a failure. I know the council agrees with that too. Thank you for it, but yeah, I love when I get a question where I can actually say, oh, we thought about that, oh, we're on it. So thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for all that you do. I was curious, what's going on across the street from where I live?
Yeah, that's a great question. So where he's talking about is down Arnold Mill. Yeah, I guess as a preface too, I know Tony. If all of you ask where do you live, I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. So across from where Tony lives is there on Arnold Mill, where it looks like a pipe farm and has for some time now. That is a project that actually predates me, was approved right before, but that's a multi-use project that will be condo and restaurant and retail as well as a handful of townhomes behind it. Think of it as an extension of downtown though. I'm actually really excited for that project. It looks like they're finally making momentum again now. I think part of that was capital markets got a little wobbly there. I don't think they were worried about the project. They were just waiting. But it looks like they're back to movement again. So I'm excited to get that one delivered too. Again, you guys will notice that throughout downtown, right? Have you guys noticed that the actual downtown is starting to take shape more than just that single main street? I always love poking fun at Roswell because I spend too much money there not to have earned the right. But in Roswell, you've got one sort of main drag of great restaurants and downtown feel, but if you step off of that street, all of a sudden it feels like you're in a totally different place, right? In Woodstock, I think we're doing a spectacularly good job of building out that grid street system, and that's why you start to see that roads are named the same even though they don't connect, because one day they will. So we're building that about that block and borough feel, where now when you say, I'm going to downtown, well, do you mean Main Street and Town Lake Parkway, or do you mean Adair Park? And so we're building out that networked actual downtown suburban urban development like we're looking for, where we get depth and character. And so I think that project is a great example of what that will look like, continuing that character feel, expanding out from that downtown. Good morning.
Hi, thank you. I'm a new business owner here in Woodstock.
Sorry, they told me.
That's okay. So I recently purchased everyone's favorite pie shop downtown.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And the question I have is about the hotel development at the end of Chambers Street. Is there a timeline on that? And one just kind of quick follow-up. This is probably outside of your particular domain, but it occurs to me that it'd be really great if we could work with the hotel to incentivize them to work with local vendors as some of their purveyors versus national chains.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. And I'll tell you, having gotten to know the development team for that hotel, I'll be shocked if that's not already their angle and desire too. Thank you for coming in with Pie Bar. We are thrilled that you're here downtown, and I know I speak on behalf of everybody here when we say we just love Pie Bar. It's a Woodstock original.
Thank you. I love it too.
Congratulations and welcome. During my time in the State House, I actually filed a resolution on behalf of the entire state to name Pie Day, so the hard work of the legislature. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. I totally agree. I would love to see them serving local options. I think Woodstock in particular is a great example of a downtown that continues to sort of cultivate and grow up our own brands and names. And we've really intentionally done that in downtown. That's curated in many ways. But from a timeline perspective, they are currently in their finalization for capital. We expect to get that update within the next 60 or 90 days, and I would love to see them breaking ground this year. So I think that, I don't think that's overly optimistic, but give it about 2 years until you're actually staying in there. Any other questions, guys? Sylvia? Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Diana Hornez. I have a question. One of our sister cities, Canton, has a down payment assistance program to help certain particular families with purchasing a home within the city limits. I understand the city of Woodstock has an ADU program.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any talks about perhaps something mirroring what the city of Canton has?
So, great question. So, reference both a downtown, a down payment assistance program. I believe that's for employees, right? It's not for. Okay, so for city employees, certain city employees, we've talked about different hero housing programs here in the city. We don't have anything vetted out or solved for there yet. In many ways, what I love is, as a state legislator, we used to talk about the, James Madison called state legislatures the laboratories of democracy. I see city governments as sort of that on steroids, right? We all get to try out different public policies, see what works, and then get addicted to each other's success. So I think we're waiting to see how does that actually work out for them before we start to consider whether or not that's something we'd want to invest in here. The ADU policy that you referenced, though, I think is a good example of us going out on the ledge before sister cities. So ADUs, for anybody who's not familiar with all the government jargon that we throw around here, are accessory dwelling units. So think about this as the in-law suite that you build into your house, or even the separate building that you build for your in-laws or your parents to come and live in, or your kids to come and live in as they're getting started. We completely revamped our ordinance in Woodstock. They were actually permitted in most of the city already, but it was so convoluted you couldn't figure out how to actually take advantage of what we'd already permitted. And so we have many ways led the way. I actually got to speak on the North Fulton Communities podcast a few months ago, trying to help North Fulton figure out how to do this for their cities. And we've sort of set the example of how cities throughout Georgia can adopt a policy that both protects the character of neighborhoods, but makes it easy enough for property owners to understand how to take advantage of that opportunity, both to help cash flow your property and create critically needed housing for people in a way that doesn't make mass density decisions without planning. Thank you. Great question. Yes, sir.
To see what we, oh, thank you. Yeah, so basically just going down, I guess that would be North Main Street, right, across from Adair Park. Just the crosswalks. Speaking of North Fulton, I've seen a lot of them have like bright lights crossing, like a spotlight almost, right? And I just feel like there's a lot of times, and especially because obviously my office is across from Adair Park, just really looking to have more bright lights, more flashing lights. The new kind of Adair Park a little bit north or south of me as well, there's a crosswalk there, but most people don't even know it's there. Right? So just really wanting to
No, I think that's great feedback. That whole corridor, I think you're going to continue to see added investment and development, both from the private sector as well as, I think a good example of, if you look at our, both our Smart Cities Plan and our Comprehensive Transportation Plan, you'll see examples where we put in on Main Street there in front of IPS, we've got what we call a smart crosswalk. So it actually senses vehicles coming, senses pedestrians coming, and that thing lights up like a Christmas tree when there's a pedestrian nearby, both throughout the roadway as well as lights coming down. So we intend to spread more of those throughout the city. That was really almost a pilot project to see, does this work? Turns out lights work. So we're going to continue to expand that. I think that's a great candidate area to see that kind of project come through. All right, guys, we can do two more. Yes, sir.
Hey, so I live in the South on Main neighborhood, and I have a question about what is the plans to open up like Reeves and the other streets to connect them all the way through downtown?
Great question, and a consistent question from South on Main. So when I talk about grid streets, look, I hope South on Main feels like we've been upfront about this. We've been upfront. The reason South on Main is laid out the way it is because it was planned to be a part of that grid street network, right? I live in the neighborhood downtown. Long term, when I say we've got a lot of neighborhoods downtown now. Once upon a time, that meant one neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood behind the condo building there downtown, and eventually the grid streets will likely tie into that neighborhood too. It's on the plan, right? The holdup for us, we would do it tomorrow if we owned all the right-of-way and property. The holdup for us is that there are several property owners there who have been there for generations. The promise that we have made them is we will never push them out. They will be able to go out on their own timeline. As they do, we will work with them and whatever comes in behind them to make sure that, just like we did South on Main, those roads align in. So if you go into South on Main, you'll notice there's Reeves Street and Market Street are named. They don't connect up to Reeves Street and Market Street in downtown yet, but they sure will. My hope is that that's going to be in the next several years. I think we're closer than we've been historically. But again, you've got a council that does not believe in eminent domain. I'm grateful to you all for that. It's important. And so we're never going to shove anybody out unless... Now, I do want to couch. Don't hear me tell you that if you find out that you've got property and the city's bidding on it, that you can now mark it up 9,000%. There is a legal reason that exists, but not to push people out of their homes. So coming soon to a street near you.